What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about Dragon Age, the Veilguard yet again. We are getting very, very close. And, with the news today, they talked about the release times for the game, dropping, remember, on Halloween. Great day to do it. Maybe not perfect for me because I have a daughter, but we're getting close. It's getting exciting. I imagine codes are going out to people probably this week. And, who knows, maybe end of next week, early the week that it comes out, 28th, 29th. We might be getting, review scores for it and get to see kind of what the influencers and the journalists think of it, if you care what those people think in the first place. But it got me thinking, and I wanted to do a video like this before the game actually came out. And it's what does this game mean to Bioware, right? Like, what is riding on this game? What happens if this game does well or doesn't do well? Because I do think it means a lot, right? And that's kind of where I want to start. I think this game kind of means everything to Bioware. And it's something I've talked about a few times in the past, where Mass Effect, I'd say more as a series, needs the rebound versus Dragon Age, but in a cruel twist of fate, Dragon Age is put in the spotlight. Does that make sense, right? Where, you see the past of Bioware, and the last couple games, and, specifically for a Mass Effect, it had the Andromeda. I don't think Dragon Age ever had its Andromeda. I really like 2. In some ways it's better than 1, some ways it's weaker than 1. Inquisition was the same kind of thing. So I don't think in terms of a rebound for the series, I don't know if Dragon Age ever actually needed it, right? Now, that doesn't mean you can't make more Dragon Age games. I'm not saying that, but Dragon Age isn't in need of a rebound like Mass Effect is. And then you have really Anthem, right? And you have more of the behind the scenes of BioWare, and Andromeda, Anthem, and the behind the scenes kind of, okay, Dragon Age started more multiplayer wise, and then it was changed, and just all of the upheaval that BioWare has dealt with. Those are the things they're looking to rebound from, not necessarily like Inquisition, which at this time is 10 years old, with Dragon Age Origins being 15 years old, right? It's actually crazy how old we are becoming. But okay, so fast forward to now, what does that mean? Well, I still think BioWare, a lot of BioWare's future rides on Dragon Age. And look, I'm not here to make the doomsday predictions. I also, I guess, don't think my doomsday predictions mean anything, necessarily to anybody. It's not like they're guaranteed to come true, or BioWare freaking cares what I think of them. But, I want a successful future for them. I want Mass Effect, right? I love Dragon Age. I'm excited for the Veilguard. We've talked about that quite a bit. I did my Why I'm Getting video on it that you guys seemingly somewhat liked. But for me, Mass Effect is my franchise in the BioWare sphere, right? Or KOTOR, I would argue. But, I want my Mass Effect 4. I want to see, if they're going to do something with Shepard or not. But I want that world back. And so for me, I don't think that we get future. Here's the thing. Again, when it comes to Doomsday, I don't know if I'd be willing to go all the way where if Dragon Age completely fails, BioWare is done. But I do wonder, that is something, it doesn't keep me up at night, okay? I don't cry about it in my sleep to my wife, but I do wonder from time to time if Dragon Age completely flops. And now, what is a complete flop? Well, Dragon Age and Mass Effects, they've always done pretty well. I think if Dragon Age, the Veilguard, sells, between maybe 4 to 6 million units, maybe something just go in the middle, I guess, right? 5+. If it does 5+ million, I imagine that's okay. Honestly, maybe better than okay, right? But I imagine that satisfies them. Now, if it comes out and the review scores are 60s, now I don't think that's going to happen, but just, follow me through. If the review scores are not good, and then the game comes out and the game is not good and it doesn't sell, because there's a difference between critical reception and then commercial, right? What the critics give you as a score versus how well it sells. If the game gets a 75 and it sells 7 million units, I don't think BioWare cares too much. Maybe you try to work on getting those ratings up, but overall you sold pretty okay, right? But if both of them fail, I think they're in a lot of trouble. And honestly, in terms of money and EA and things like that, I think it really does come down to sales. I think they would settle for 8 million sales, even if it got a 5 out of 10, because I feel like they're in desperate need of success, and success being money. I think they need money from their upcoming games. And that's the thing for me. I don't remember Andromeda sales, but I feel like it didn't do as good as 2 and 3. That's just off the top of my head. You can fact check me if you want. And then Anthem, we know what happened to Anthem. We know that was a disappointment and failure. I would say that big F word, not that one, the other one, commercially, critically, everything. Pulling the plug on that game as fast as they technically did with what they wanted to do, that was a huge failure, right? And I don't know, I just think you think about right now in the gaming industry, it's tough. It's there's a lot of layoffs and there's a lot of upheaval, and studios are being shut down. They're being halved, right? Games are being canceled. That's the thing with me. It's like, if Bioware doesn't succeed with Dragon Age, again, going back to that question, well, what does Dragon Age almost mean to them here? If Dragon Age is a success, I think it's just full steam ahead, right? You do Mass Effect, you put another part of the team or whatever, you work on a second new game, right? So you got Dragon Age, Mass Effect, and then something else, whether it's another Dragon Age or whatever. That's what I just think you keep going, right? If it massively fails, I mean, there's two options, one of which is like complete, annihilation, is the complete destruction and shutdown of Bioware. Now, I don't think EA would do that, even with as tough of times that we're in. I just feel like the name and the legacy and the properties of Bioware are too valuable to completely get rid of. But that leads me to my, I guess, more realistic point. I could see substantial layoffs. I feel like right now, and it's not a bad thing, but like they're living in like abundance, right? Like they're able to do Dragon Age and almost get like a head start on, like there's a Mass Effect team, right? I don't think the Mass Effect team is as big as the Dragon Age team, but there is a Mass Effect team and there's also a Dragon Age team. I imagine if this game completely flops, you are not getting that extra, right? So then it's like, okay, we're not shutting you down, but like you get the people for Mass Effect and that's it. There's nobody, that you're going to get to work on the project afterwards. You go project to project, and we might even lay people off. So you have even you might want 250 people on the Mass Effect team. We might give you 200 because of what just happened. Like, and I'm not saying that's good. That's just, in my opinion, in terms of like the realistic negative scenario, that's the scenario to me, is like layoffs and kind of cutting down where you can, and then just having like the bare bones skeleton crew that you need to like make future games. That's what they would be left with. And so again, like I wanted to make this video, I wanted to kind of talk through it, but for me, I don't want it. Like, to be honest with you, and I think I've expressed this before. Like, look, I'll be critical. I will call out if something needs to be called out in the Veilguard when it comes out. You'll see me say it, but I'm not rooting for like like the complete destruction. And but it is something I think about, right? Because Bioware, I don't know, they're in a tough spot. You have EA as kind of your handlers, and with everything in the gaming industry, with the uncertainty of the Veilguard, it's not impossible. But again, best case scenario is the game does really well. It's I mean, the best case scenario is almost kind of boring, like to the general point of this video. But like that's the one we kind of want, right? The game's good, we enjoy it because we get a good Dragon Age game, right? Like that's kind of what we want. So like if the game is good and Bioware succeeds and nothing happens negatively to them, okay, good. Like nothing happens, right? We received a good Dragon Age game and we move on with our lives. It's if it doesn't go well, it's more interesting, but it's bad, right? It definitely is like a newsworthy item of the day, but it wouldn't be like a good thing. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure as always you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.